You've been told your whole life that what you see, what you touch, what you taste, that's reality. That's the truth. That's the ground you stand on. But let me tell you something tonight, reality isn't fixed. It isn't locked down. It isn't as solid as you think it is. Scientists have been studying the building blocks of the universe, tiny particles smaller than atoms. And what they discovered flips the whole game upside down. These particles don't follow the rules we were taught in school. They don't sit still. They don't move in straight lines. They exist in states of possibility until an observation, a chosen intention, collapses them into form. And if reality at the deepest level is flexible, if it responds to observation, then what does that say about the way you and I are living right now? See, most people walk around like reality is this unchangeable wall. They look at their situation, where they live, what they earn, the obstacles in front of them, and they think, this is it. This is my truth. This is as far as I can know. But the hidden secret, the thing nobody told you, is that reality is much more like clay than concrete. It bends, it shifts, it responds. And when you realize that, when you stop treating your life like a prison and start treating it like a field of possibilities, everything changes. Think about it. Every breakthrough, every invention, every transformation in history came because someone refused to believe reality was locked. Somebody looked at the world and said, I see what's here, but I also see what could be. They tapped into that quantum truth, possibilities waiting to be chosen, and they pulled a new reality into existence. That's what vision is. That's what faith looks like when it's alive. It's looking beyond the surface, beyond the so-called facts and saying, I can shift this. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you can sit back, cross your arms, and wait for the universe to drop blessings in your lap. No. What I'm saying is, when you understand that reality is not fixed, you stop surrendering to limits. You stop bowing to fear. You stop letting circumstances dictate your future. You wake up in the morning and you declare, this isn't set in stone. This can be rewritten. That shift in mindset, that awareness is the beginning of everything. Here's the challenge: most people can't see past the illusion of permanence. They think the job they hate is forever. They think the pain they carry is forever. They think the struggle they're in is forever. But what if forever is just an illusion? What if the struggle is just one version of reality you've been observing, and the moment you decide to focus differently, to act differently, you pull another version into existence? That's not fantasy. That's science meeting spirit. That's the quantum truth hidden in plain sight. You ever notice how two people can be in the same environment, face the same problems, and yet one person crumbles while the other rises? It's not the environment that decides, it's the perception, it's the belief. It's the way they interact with reality. One sees only walls. The other sees doors. One says, this is it. The other says, this is just one version of it, and I'm going to shift into another. That's the power of understanding that reality is not fixed. So I need you to stop accepting everything in front of you as the final word. I need you to stop thinking your current situation has the last say. It doesn't. The truth is, you've been given access to a universe that's alive with possibilities. And it's waiting on your observation, your focus, your energy to decide which version of reality you're going to live in. You've got more power than you realize. The question is, are you going to keep living like reality is concrete, or are you ready to start shaping it like clay? Because the moment you realize reality is not fixed, you unlock the first door to the quantum shift. Listen to me. What you see every day, what you hear, what you touch, it feels like the whole picture, right? It feels like reality. But the truth is, you're not seeing everything. You're not even close. Your perception is a filter, and that filter is shaping the world you think is real. You're walking around believing you've got the full story, when in fact you're looking through a tiny window, and that window is tinted by your past, your fears, your beliefs, your culture, your experiences. That means you're not dealing with reality as it is. You're dealing with reality as you perceive it. Think about it like this: two people can stand in the same room, see the same problem, and walk away with two completely different conclusions. Why? Because they're not seeing the situation itself. They're seeing their version of it. One person sees a wall, another sees a ladder. One sees a dead end, another sees an opportunity. It's not the room that changed. It's the filter. And if you're living through a filter, that means there's so much more beyond what you're currently aware of. That's the secret. Your perception is not the whole picture. And if you can shift it, you can see beyond what most people ever see. The brain is powerful, but it's also selective. Right now, there are millions of bits of information flooding your senses. Sounds, lights, vibrations, patterns. But your brain filters out almost all of it. It picks what it thinks is important based on what you've trained it to look for. That's why when you buy a new car, suddenly you start seeing that same car everywhere. It was always there. You just weren't tuned into it. Your perception shifted, and now reality looks different. The danger is this: if you've been programmed to look for failure, you'll find it. If you've been conditioned to see lack, you'll see it everywhere. If your filter is set on fear, the whole world will look threatening. But what if you decided to reset the filter? What if you trained your mind to notice opportunity, to spot solutions, to pay attention to doors instead of walls? Suddenly, you start seeing beyond the limits that used to hold you back. You begin to access realities that were invisible before. Here's the problem for most people. They confuse perception with truth. They say, this is just the way it is. No, that's just the way you're seeing it. That's just the way your filter is tuned. Don't mistake your current lens for the whole reality. It's like wearing glasses with scratched lenses and thinking the world is blurry. The world isn't blurry. You need to change the lenses. And let me tell you something powerful. Once you know your perception is a filter, you can stop being a victim of it. You can take responsibility. You can challenge your beliefs. You can ask yourself, what am I not seeing? What have I been filtering out? What's possible here that I've been blind to? And when you start asking those questions, you open the door to what I call the quantum shift, the ability to move from one version of reality to another, simply by expanding your awareness. You ever notice how successful people seem to find opportunities that others miss? It's not that they're lucky. It's that their perception is tuned differently. They've trained themselves to see abundance where others see scarcity. They've trained themselves to see possibility where others see obstacles. The opportunities were always there, but most people walked right past them because their filters made them invisible. That's the difference between staying stuck and breaking through. So if you're sitting there thinking your life can't change, I need you to understand. It's not that the opportunities don't exist. It's that you're not perceiving them. You're not tuned in yet. And once you shift your perception, once you expand the filter, you'll realize that the reality you've been living in is just one small slice of what's possible. There are versions of your life, of your future, that are waiting to be unlocked, but you'll never see them until you stop trusting the filter and start questioning it. Because the moment you understand perception is a filter, not the full picture, you begin to see beyond reality. When we talk about the quantum, we're not talking about some far-off idea or something reserved for scientists in a lab. We're talking about a real, living power that every single one of us has access to right now. At its core, the quantum shift is about alignment. It's about bringing your thoughts, your emotions, and your energy into a state where they work together instead of pulling in different directions. Because here's the truth. What you focus on, what you feel, what you believe, it doesn't just sit inside your head. It interacts with the world. It interacts with possibility. It interacts with the very fabric of reality. Most of us don't realize that we're broadcasting energy all day long. Our thoughts have a frequency. Our emotions have a vibration. And the state we live in either attracts possibilities or pushes them away. That's why when you're fearful, angry, or full of doubt, you keep running into more of the same. You're tuned into that station, and life echoes it back to you. But when you shift, when you raise your state, when you align your mind and energy with what you want instead of what you fear, suddenly doors start opening. Suddenly you see opportunities you couldn't see before. Suddenly you find the right people, the right moments, the right breakthroughs. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. The problem is most people live misaligned. Their thoughts say, I want success, but their emotions whisper, I'm not good enough. Their words say, I believe in change, but their energy is still tied to doubt, to fear, to old failures. And that contradiction keeps them stuck. They're sending mixed signals into the field of possibilities, and reality doesn't know what to give them. But when you get clear, when your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions line up in the same direction, the universe responds. Reality starts bending toward you. That's the secret most people miss. Think about a radio. If you're off by just a little, all you hear is static. But when you tune it exactly to the right frequency, the music comes through loud and clear. Your life works the same way. If your mind wants one thing, but your energy is tuned somewhere else, all you get is static, confusion, frustration, chaos. But when you lock in, when your vision, your belief, and your energy match, you tune into the station where possibilities become reality. That's the quantum shift. Now, let's make it practical. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about conscious alignment. That means when you wake up in the morning, you don't just say what you want. You feel it, you believe it, you embody it. You carry it in your body language, your decisions, your actions. You rehearse it in your imagination until it feels more real than your fears. Because once your mind and your emotions are in agreement, your energy follows. And once your energy shifts, the way you move through the world shifts. And once you move differently, reality starts showing up differently. This is why some people seem unstoppable. They're not luckier than you. They're not more gifted than you. They're aligned. They've stopped fighting themselves. They've stopped letting fear and doubt cancel out their vision. They've tuned into one frequency, and that consistency pulls new realities into existence. And let me be clear, you can do the same. It doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter what you've been through. The moment you decide to align, truly align, your whole life can take a new direction. I need you to hear me. You cannot keep asking for greatness while carrying around an energy of defeat. You cannot keep dreaming about freedom while vibrating at the frequency of fear. You cannot expect abundance while walking in lack every day. You've got to shift. You've got to align. You've got to bring your thoughts, your emotions, your energy into agreement. And once you do, you'll realize you've been living small compared to what's possible. Because the moment you align your mind and energy, you unlock the quantum shift. It's one thing to know that reality isn't fixed. It's one thing to understand that your perception is a filter. It's one thing to realize your energy shapes what you experience. But if you don't put this knowledge into practice, it just sits there. It becomes another idea you nod your head at, but never use. The quantum shift is not just a concept, it's a practice. It's something you live moment by moment until it becomes your natural way of seeing the world. And the truth is, you don't need to be a scientist or a philosopher to do it. You just need to be willing to train your mind, to sharpen your awareness, and to step into the discipline of seeing beyond what most people settle for. The first step is mindfulness. And I don't mean sitting on a mountaintop for hours humming. I mean paying attention, becoming aware of what's happening inside of you as you go through your day, noticing when your thoughts are filled with fear, catching yourself when you're stuck in negativity, recognizing when your emotions are dragging you back to old patterns. Most of us are so distracted, so busy running on autopilot, that we don't even notice how much our inner state is shaping what shows up in our outer world. But when you practice mindfulness, even for a few minutes a day, you take back control of your focus. You stop letting life happen to you, and you start shaping it from within. The second step is visualization. Now, I need you to understand, this isn't about wishful thinking. It's about mental rehearsal. Athletes do it all the time. Before they step on the field, they see themselves running the play, making the shot, finishing the race. Why? Because the brain doesn't know the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's actually experienced. The more you rehearse your vision, the more familiar it becomes. And when it's familiar, it stops feeling impossible. It becomes natural. It becomes something you expect. And once you expect it, you start moving differently. You take actions you wouldn't have taken before. You notice opportunities you would have missed. You carry yourself like the outcome is inevitable, and that energy pulls it closer. The third step is tuning into your intuition. See, logic will only get you so far. Logic is built from the information you already have, but intuition taps into something deeper. It's that quiet nudge, that inner voice, that sudden knowing that doesn't come from reasoning. It comes from alignment. But here's the problems. Most people can't hear it because their minds are too loud. Their fears are too loud. Their doubts drown out the signal. When you slow down, when you listen, when you practice trusting that inner guidance, you start picking up on insights that go beyond the surface. And those insights can lead you to breakthroughs you could never think your way into. The fourth step is reframing your beliefs. Every single one of us is carrying stories we picked up from childhood, from culture, from past experiences. Stories like, I'm not good enough. People like me don't succeed. Change is too hard. Those stories are filters, and they shape everything you see. But the truth is, they're just beliefs, not facts. And beliefs can be rewritten. When you catch yourself saying, I can't, challenge it. Ask yourself, who told me that? Where did I learn that? Is it actually true? 9 times out of 10, you'll find it's just a story you've been carrying that no longer serves you. Reframe it. Replace it. Write a new story that aligns with the life you're stepping into. Now, don't get it twisted. This isn't easy. It takes practice. It takes discipline. It takes the willingness to go against the grain, because most people will never do this work. Most people will keep living on autopilot, letting their old filters and broken beliefs run the show. But if you're serious, if you're hungry, if you're ready, you can apply these steps and start seeing beyond reality today. And once you start, you'll notice something incredible. The world begins to open up. Possibilities that were invisible before suddenly come into focus. Solutions appear where there used to be obstacles. life begins to mirror the shift you've made inside. Because the moment you put these steps into practice, you don't just understand the quantum shift, you start living it.